How many of you waste probably an hour a day just scrolling through content? How do you grab their attention? So that's another challenge. How do you get the attention of an audience that is literally consuming information at rapid speed? Welcome back. I just figured we'd sit around and talk. We'll call this, it's not elk camp or fish camp. We'll call this SEO camp, website camp, where we sit around and we just talk, right? And I don't know if there's a lot of, not necessarily hunter, fishermen, camping. The one thing you do is you sit around a campfire and you talk. That's kind of how I want to handle this. We just sit around and have a conversation, about digital marketing, what's going on out there in the world, how AI is affecting it. But I think today one of the things I want to focus on is the challenges that an outdoor brand faces. One of the first challenges I think that I've experienced over the years, not think I've actually experienced, is what do you do with the audience, right? As the audience changes, what do you do and how do you adapt, right? That's going to turn into budgets and so on and so forth. But how do you reach that audience? Do you reach that audience at their level? Do you have them come to your level? So the challenge is how do you get in front of that audience as it is changing ever so much? Well, persona development and actually developing out who your audience is. Not just we're looking for 55-year-old white males with a disposable income of $100,000. That's very easy. That persona driven needs to be a little bit deeper. What matters to them? Are they brand centric? Are they authenticity centric? Are they just information centric? Do they just want to get it from the brand? There's just so many things to think about. Do they like video? Do they like listening to it? Do they read? So what do you need to do? And so really getting and putting down personas, I think, is going to be step one. Really know that audience, right? You've got hunt, fish, camp, rock climbing, bike riding. I mean, no matter what it is, these people are passionate about what they do. I mean, I'm an avid hunter. I'm an avid fisherman. Frankly, if it happens outside, I'll do it. Golf. And so for me, reaching me is going to be a challenge because I'm all over the place. How do you do that? Sit down, really understand motivations, frustrations. Why would they want to come to you and then purchase your product and or service? Why? So always ask the question, why? We get, for all of you that have kids, we get tired of the why. Hey, I need to go clean your room. Why? But that's really what we're asking here is the why. Why are we doing this, and why should they buy that? Another challenge you're going to have is, as a manufacturer, there are things like MDF that you pay a large retailer like Cabela's, Bass Pro, Shields to have just a presence in their store. Well, that's a pretty hefty cost. Some of them I've seen up to 6%. That's a sizable chunk of change that you have just to play a role in that market. How do you get around that? Can you get around that? Is there a way to create margin by going just directly to the consumer as a program? You can do that both. Some people, like myself, I would prefer, like I just bought a brand new Matthews bow. I did not go buy my bow at Shields. I bought my bow directly from Matthews. I want to make sure that I have the manufacturer warranty. I want to make sure that when I talk to someone, I'm going right to the manufacturer because the bow I bought is not cheap. So if I've got something that I've invested in, I want to make sure that I support that investment. Another challenge I think that the outdoor industry has faced in the digital transformation is really just change, embracing change. I know that, I worked in Sydney, Nebraska at Cabela's headquarters. Sydney, Nebraska is not a very big town. You've got a lot of folks that have lived there their whole lives. It's beautiful. Love Sydney, Nebraska. Any of you guys ever get a chance, go to Sydney, Nebraska, visit the original Cabela's. But how do you get that talent that's for the future? So one of the things Cabela's did is they opened up a Denver office, and they started bringing in that younger generation, that more digitally savvy type of employee or team member to push them into the digital age. So now another challenge you have is just how do you turn the Titanic on a dime? Because the market changes on it. How do you change your organization, whether retailer or manufacturer, on a dime to adapt to the market? So change is literally just a challenge. And right, change itself. People have done their things a certain way. I mean, I remember sitting in meetings with some of the corporate executives. I sat a little bit higher up on the chain there, and it was interesting to hear them. They could tell me what a 1 inch by 1 inch square of that catalog produces in revenue. But could not tell me what one page of their website would produce in revenue. And you're talking about Cabela's being an $800 million website. So much revenue that was generating. That was back in 2015. So, how do you start to account for that large influx? Another challenge that the outdoor industry faces is generational. I can tell you I've watched the younger generations. They don't go out and run around outside. They are, they don't drink from the garden hose because it's hot outside, right? They're inside watching YouTube, playing video games, engaging in electronic stimulation. Whereas, I can tell you, I grew up, I was out running around, probably fishing, probably riding my bike, probably breaking a bone somewhere, having a time outside. So now that the audience is now moving more indoors and they're consuming more indoors, now you add one more element into it. Is how do you add the YouTube, the engagement portion? How do you engage that audience on their level? Especially, they're younger, so look at me sit there. I don't know how many of you waste probably an hour a day just scrolling through content. How do you grab their attention? So that's another challenge. How do you get the attention of an audience that is literally consuming information at rapid speed? Another challenge you're going to face that I have faced specifically is how do you produce the content? Let's just do a little bit of math. If we'll use Cabela's or Shields as an example, or really any other manufacturer. I've got, let's just say at a retail level, I got hunt, fish, camp, cook, boat or marine. I've got hike. I've got clothing. Look at all this. Let's just say there's 10. Okay. And if I do a piece per week for every one of those, that's 10 pieces per week. That's 40 pieces per month. That's almost 500 pieces of content generated. How do you actually do that? Right? If you're a large retailer, you probably have a content or a brand team that's doing catalog content and probably stuff for retail. But as a manufacturer, you may not have that personnel that can go in there and help you, create that content. So that's going to be a challenge. And then, knowing what pitfalls to stay away from. I talk a lot, here at CSP that you don't hire us to help you learn SEO. You can do that on a YouTube video. You can go buy a manual. I actually think that colleges provide you now with digital marketing degrees. So learning what to do, that's the easy part. It's the learning what to do, when to do it, and then also what not to do is also valuable. Well, what not to do typically comes from experience. And I want to kind of anchor on that term just for a moment, the word experience. I think it's changed from experience, like I've got 25 years of experience in SEO. Then it morphed to what is the experience that someone engages with us as an organization. Well, now it's coming back around with EAT. If anyone's familiar with EAT, it's Google's new content framework. It's requiring expertise, experience, which gives you authority, which equals trust. And I was sitting down talking to a colleague about if you're going to take your vehicle, you're investing in that vehicle. Let's say you went and bought a brand new, let's just say 2022 Dodge Ram Bighorn, about $100,000 worth of pickup. Okay. Something happens on that. Do you take it to the one-off shop over here that you kind of don't know about? Do you go with someone, or do you just go to the dealer? Well, the dealer that they know what they're doing. And even this day and age, people don't even care about that price much anymore. They want the expertise. They want to know that when they give that vehicle over, that investment, that it's being well taken care of by someone who knows what they're doing, right? The Allstate commercial. We've seen a few things, we've done a few things, or we've done a few things. The point being is that we've seen it. Now we're making sure that we do it. And I think that's going to be key in the outdoor space, is banking off that word authenticity.